Hey Lady Detective, what's in Madrid here doing a astrology reading for you. So you are born November 93 and that makes you a Scorpio and a water rooster in the Chinese zodiac. So firstly, your rising sign or ascendant is in Taurus. Now this will make you have a cute sort of physical appearance. You probably have a good bone structure and a very nice, beautiful or handsome face to look at. It will make your attitude steadfast, makes you a little bit stubborn, and also makes you a hard worker. So, good things, down to earth, good sense of humor, a bit quirky. Your next thing is Sun, and Sun is in Scorpio. So, you've probably read a lot about Scorpio. Scorpio being quite intense and quite emotional and very secretive and sort of brooding. But these days, Scorpio can be very nice, definitely hardworking, and they are generally quite sexy. So, it's always a plus. Now, your next planet is the moon. So, your moon is in Cancer, and this position makes it very emotional. It makes you generate a lot of emotions. You react to things very emotionally. You maybe care about your friends a lot, and when you do schoolwork, you might, panic or whatnot, and a lot of things will be very, you react emotionally to it. Now, the next planet I like to talk about is Mercury. So, Mercury represents your mind, and this is near the Sun, 3 degrees off, and that is not the most comfortable place for Mercury to be because it's a very close to the sun and your personality might dominate your mind. So that is to say, you might find that your impulses and your emotions override your thought process. Other than that, though, having Mercury in Scorpio makes you interested in things like psychology, finance, anything that requires in-depth knowledge, maybe engineer or science or secrets like occult things, religion, death, afterlife, all those sort of things. And it's quite a penetrating mind, so you probably don't look at things superficially. You probably study one thing and study it very in depth. Now, the next planet I like to talk about is Venus. So Venus represents relationships, beauty, romance, and also has to do with monetary wealth and possessions. Now, your Venus is in Libra, so this makes you quite a sociable person, makes you quite warm and friendly and outgoing, and it also gives you a refined taste. So you probably like fine furniture fittings, nice dinners, good TV, things that have elegance and class. And it also means you might enjoy spending a lot of money, so watch out for that because you have such refined tastes. Next planet is Mars. So Mars is about the masculine side, assertion, power, anger, um, physical prowess, and that is in Scorpio. So this is a very strong place for Mars to be in. It makes you quite intense physically and sexually, and if you do get angry, it's probably very, very angry because I imagine you probably wouldn't express your anger too often. Like, you always appear nice, and if someone annoys you, you'll probably just remember it and sort of brood upon it. And then if you do finally let it out, it will be quite scary. So that's all right though, because your Venus is in Libra. The way you relate to people, you are generally quite friendly and sociable. So I don't imagine that should be too much of a problem. Now the next planet is Jupiter. So Jupiter is about expansion. It's about higher mind. It's physical, intellectual, spiritual, emotional growth. It's about being forward looking. It's about optimistic outlook on life, and that is also in Libra. So you probably have quite a, I guess, a beautiful outlook on life. Like, you like things to be beautiful, you like life to be beautiful, and you like enjoying life, with your friends or family or whatnot. Like, you don't think life should be spent, all miserable in the dark and working and whatnot. You know, you believe there should be a quality of life and it should be good. Now, the next planet I like to talk about is Saturn. So, Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter. It's about contraction, it's about restraint, it's about inner control. It's like your inner father, and it's where your discipline and work and sort of hard logic and denial of surplus things comes in, and that is in Aquarius. So, that is quite a strong place for Saturn to be in. It'll give you very strong morals, and it'll give you very strong sort of humanitarian feel. Like you'll feel for the environment or bigger issues, not just, you know, small personal issues. And then the next planet is Uranus. So your Uranus and Neptune, which is the planet after, they're right next. They are on top of each other, and they are both in Capricorn. Now, Uranus represents shock, change, abruptness, and Capricorn is a very strategic and methodical sign. So, having that here, maybe you will express new ideas in work, or if you're into music or art, you know, you probably come up with new songs or new ways to play things. Or, you know, if you're interested in psychology and counseling, you might develop new ways of treating couples and relationship problems. And after that, there's Pluto. So Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio, and it is in Scorpio, which makes you a very Scorpio. Um, yeah, that's all there is to it. It'll make you want to research things in depth. It'll make you interested in deep and very, very, I guess, secretive or occult things. But yeah, it also gives you great sexual activity. So you probably find yourself have a very high sex drive, and that's because you have so much stuff in Scorpio. A lot of physical energy as well. So you should be playing sport. If you're not playing sport, I recommend it because it'll help you release your energies, and yeah, you know, sport is good for you. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about modalities. Now you have 5 in cardinal, 5 in fixed, and 0 in mutable. So cardinal signs generally represent someone who is forward looking, who is a leader, who wants to bring about new things. Fixed sign is someone who wants to maintain the status quo. So someone who's a bit more stubborn, someone who builds methodically and slowly upon what they already have. Immutable sign is the sign that likes to change things or end things. So you have nothing in mutable signs. So you probably find that you're good at, you know, starting projects and leading projects and then maintaining projects, but you're probably not so good at letting things go and, you know, ending things. So if something's not going so well, you're probably reluctant to end it. Like if you don't like a job or you're in a bad relationship, you might feel that it's really hard to end it. But, you know, if it makes you happier, just do it. I mean, no one should spend their life being unhappy. So the next thing I like to talk about is elements. You have 3 in air, 2 in earth, 0 in fire, and 6 in water. So most of your stuff is in water, and yeah, in air as well, I'd say. Not the 2 earths, they're not as heavily weighted. So I imagine you're quite emotional and deep and understanding, and you're also quite you know, talkative and communicative. And then when it comes to doing work, I think you'll be quite solid and hardworking and reliable. Now, having no fire means you're probably not so impulsive, you probably don't act out, you probably don't like taking risks, and you might feel very hesitant in trying new things in life. So you might not feel confident in yourself, or you might, you know, not feel like boisterous and proud of what you do. And yeah, that's a result of having no fire in your chart. Alright, so last thing I like to talk about is aspects. So your moon is Your moon is opposite your Uranus and Neptune, so you might find that whilst you feel very emotional and you want to, let's say if you're doing something, you might want to go with the flow, but then you might feel that you need to plan things out, you need to use your brain, you need to make things structured, and that sort of works against being really emotional. But I mean, it's not too much of a problem. The main problem I see that you might have is your Saturn is square your Mars and Pluto. So square is 90 degrees, and that is a tough angle. So usually you have trouble when you have these angles. So you might find that you have trouble in relationships, like balancing between work and relationship. Like you are hardworking and you value your work, so you don't want to not invest time in it, but then you also feel very strongly in your relationships, and it might cause you unhappiness to have to choose between the two, and you might also be prone to being very critical or very violent or very stern and harsh at times. um, yeah, and or maybe you might find that your father is spending a lot of time working and doesn't have that much time to spend to you, and that causes problems because you might find someone to replace your father, or it just might not be a very healthy relationship. Yeah, that's about it. So there's also water rooster. Roosters are quite, as the animal might suggest, quite a proud animal. They like to peacock, I guess, show off, and they might be a bit prone to being a bit too nitpicky, a bit pecky, and a bit critical. Now, being a water rooster makes you more mellow. You probably don't love the spotlight as much as other roosters do, and seeing that you have so much stuff in water sign, I imagine you'll be a very thoughtful, very charismatic, very in-depth person anyway. And then, yeah, so that is rooster. So to sum up, you will be quite quite practical, quite solid, easy to socialize with, and then underneath that you will be very emotional and very strong and very persevering. You never give up. Um, your mind is very penetrating, and yeah, that's about it. Remember to like or favorite, subscribe, comment, whatever, and yeah, good night.